We can all agree that there is a Fenix watch for everyone, and for someone who prefers to run to work, climb, and hike trails, and feel like they belong in the great outdoors, Garmin has officially unveiled the Fenix 7 Pro, a completely new follow-up to the famous Fenix 7 series. With a slew of upgrades over the original, how does the watch stack up against Apple's crown jewel, the Apple Watch Ultra? In today's video, we'll look over both watches to help you decide which one is right for you. So, without further ado, let's get started. Starting off with the basic aesthetics in question, you cannot help but admire the beautiful design and how good it looks on any given wrist. Garmin designed their watch to be worn 24/7, and it's hard not to. The responsive advanced MIP touchscreen makes it relatively easy to navigate the watch and check notifications while being on the move, which makes it an essential tool for any runner who prefers to be on the move. And alongside, you're also getting access to physical buttons to choose them to navigate instead of the screen or when the fingers turn sweating. So what exactly is so pro about Garmin's new edition? In comparison to the predecessor, the one thing that stands out like a knight in shining armor is the heart rate sensor, which comes with more spatially diverse optical sensors. These sensors offer an enhanced level of performance tracking for a plethora of different sports modes. Alongside, here's the fun thing, you're also getting a built-in flashlight. This was first introduced in the Fenix 7X, and since then users have been conveniently using them instead of their phone's unreliable flashlight, as well as utilizing the flashlight as a communication device. With its blink or pulsability, there is also a runner-specific cadence visibility flashlight, where it'll pulse wide when your arms thrust forward, and red as it moves back. In terms of fitness features, Garmin has added a few new and nifty activity profiles such as whitewater rafting, motocross, and overlanding. There are now 2 running profiles: health score, which indicates how easy or difficult it might be to run uphill, and endurance score, which measures how easy or difficult it'll be for you to sustain prolonged efforts. Garmin has also slightly reworked the mapping capabilities, which makes it relatively easier to read the upcoming weather conditions and act accordingly. However, we'd understand if you aren't the biggest fan of the included flashlight. All the idea seems pretty convenient, it might put a few people off due to the head. I mean, the Apple Watch Ultra, while often deemed to be the latest and greatest smartwatch yet, gets a lot of shade regarding its heft, and there are more than one instances where people refrain from getting one for themselves due to the fact that it can get a bit chunky. While the screen, in comparison to the previous AMOLED screens, the Fenix 7 Pro is anything, but it's still relatively easy to read on a direct sunlight, and while not AMOLED, the MIP display does come with a few perks of its own, such as solar charging capability, that extends Garmin's already praised worth the battery life to a significant amount. Speaking of in smartwatch mode, Garmin Fenix 7 Pro can last for up to 22 days, whereas in GPS and smartwatch mode, combined you'll get up to 73 hours from a single charge. But there are still a few things that, if improved upon, could make the watch significantly better. You see, if you're an experienced Garmin user, you already know how the Fenix 7 lineup is often disappointing in terms of limited number of apps you can take advantage of from the watch. Where in this regard Apple downright outclassed Garmin, and owning an Apple Watch Ultra is almost equivalent to having an iPhone on your wrist. In comparison, Garmin still makes you feel like you're wearing a sports watch, which in theory is how it's built to be. But with Apple running around making people feel like a mini version of their phone is resting on their wrist, stiff competition is an understatement. You cannot help but be impressed with what Garmin has done to the next iteration of the Fenix 7 lineup. And while the flashlight is pretty handy and the new sensor looks darn promising, you cannot help but overlook the fact that Garmin still has yet to add a skin temp sensor to these high-end watches, which would pave the way for a watch that comes with enhanced menstrual tracking and health data. Maybe Garmin Fenix 8, time will tell. Let's see. However, if you're already an owner of a Garmin FX2 or a Garmin Fenix 7s, you probably won't see any reasoning behind upgrading to a 7 Pro. But if you're rocking an older foreigner and want to invest in an adventure-centric watch that has most of the box's tech, the Fenix 7 Pro is a solid choice. So there you have it, a comparison film between the Garmin Fenix 7 Pro and the Apple Watch Ultra. the ultimate smartwatch. Which of these smartwatches would you choose and why? Please let us know. We love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell icon if you want to see more content like this in your feed.